The Jim and Terry Show, coming to you from the Hobbit Hole, fresh from a little washroom break. Yes, we're at that age where we got to get up. I had to get up. 2 cups of coffee, and I got to get up.
Yeah, I'm up all night, so there's...
So you've done your business already. I'm going to play a snippet, and we're going to react to it. It's all about women and women's roles, and that's where we're going to start off.
Women had all these cures, and it's like, really? They had all these cures, then why wasn't life expectancy longer than it was? If they had all these cures, why was infant mortality 50%? Because if women had secret healing powers, I'm pretty sure they would have saved their kids.
Find a reason to be here that's bigger than you are.
From the creators of Jesus Revolution.
Something about that little girl. I think I'm supposed to help.
Based on the inspiring true story.
My name is Sharon. I'm good at plenty of things. Taking no for an answer ain't one.
Find your purpose. Make a difference.
You want to go on an adventure?
Yeah.
Ordinary Angels. Starring 2-time Academy Award winner Hilary Swank and Alan Ritchson. In theaters February 23rd.
Hey everyone, welcome to Conspirituality, where we investigate the intersection of conspiracy theories and spiritual influence to uncover cults, pseudoscience, and authoritarian extremism. I'm Derek Barris.
I'm Matthew Remski.
I'm Julian Walker.
And I'm Dr. Jen Gunter.
Welcome, Doctor. We are so excited to have you. We are on Instagram and Threads at Conspirituality Pod, and you can access all of our episodes ad-free, plus our Monday bonus episodes over on Patreon. You can also access our bonus episodes exclusively over on Apple Podcasts. As independent media creators, we appreciate your support.
Conspirituality 193, Speaking Truth to Goop, with Dr. Jen Gunter.
When she's not talking to her angel guides, Christiane Northrup says that taking vitamin D is better than the HPV vaccine for preventing cervical cancer. When Kelly Brogan isn't denying germ theory, she's telling thousands of women in her online programs to stop taking not only their SSRIs, but also birth control and Tylenol. When Naomi Wolf isn't explaining to Steve Bannon where women's liberation went all wrong, she's worried that vaccinated women are poisoning non-vaccinated women just by walking past them. The train of messianic women wellness influencers rumbles on, but their pseudoscience claims and twisted forms of spiritualized feminism meet a brick wall in the work and advocacy of our guest today, Dr. Jen Gunter. Hailing from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Dr. Gunter is an OBGYN who has been offering actual women's health information through a solidly feminist lens for decades as a contributor to the New York Times and many other outlets, and as the author of several books, including 2019's The Vagina Bible, 2021's The Menopause Manifesto, and her newest book, which dropped just 3 weeks ago, Blood: The Science, Medicine, and Mythology of Menstruation. I don't know how you do 3 books in 5 years, Doctor, but welcome. We're glad for all of your work.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Welcome, Dr. Gunter. It's an honor to have you here. We are big fans, as we've already been telling you before we hit record. You've been speaking publicly about the prevalence of health misinformation online for years. And I want to acknowledge just off the top here that in your Center for Inquiry talk from 2019, you were quite prescient in identifying the overlaps between left-leaning crunchy wellness and right-leaning distrust of government institutions. You had a Venn diagram, and this exact intersection would become so prominent the following year and so central to what we cover on this podcast. So that's pretty impressive. In your latest book, Blood, you reference online clashes between yourself and proponents of a spiritualized ideal of women's reproductive health that should be free from pharmaceutical interference. And they use terms like natural menstruation and real periods. So tell us, why don't you agree that these are obviously best for real women in tune with nature and God, Dr. Gunter?
All right, this is the Jim and Terry Show, looking at Dr. Jen Gunter, who is an OBGYN specialist, and she's of interest because what she's encountering is attacks from what I would call the fluffy left, which is well-meaning, well-intended, New Age spirituality that's saying feminism has this intuitive nature that we are able to do all kinds of things that are spectacularly feminine-based and naturopathic, and we can heal things, make things better, just because we are women. It's kind of a new feminism. Then she's being attacked by the right, which is saying women have a definite role in the nuclear Christian family, which is to let the men go to work and have the meals ready. It's sort of a traditional Leave It to Beaver mother who's wearing the apron, stays at home, looks after the kids in the house, and has meals ready, and a subservient role. Between these two, Dr. Gunter is trying to find a way forward where we can all learn to respect each other and separate science from science fiction. And that's where she's coming from. So, what do you think so far?
Well, it's interesting, and she's Canadian, which is good, from Calgary, I believe.
Yes.
There's a certain thing that the new generation. There's a number of things I could say I don't like about the new generation, but there's one thing I do like about the new generation, and where families that are healthy seem to be together, working together as a team. It isn't even a role. It's not the man is the man, the woman's the woman. Each one takes what's best for the family, and they seem to apply it. I've seen that in a lot, and I've seen some pretty healthy, well-rounded children come out of such things. I really have. They seem to be at peace. There's no real bickering with mom and dad. It's almost the 50s without any restraints. You know what I mean? And they seem to be equal in this going forward as a family. And some of the best ones I know are atheists, if you want to know the truth, or half atheists. Maybe one's a Christian, one's an atheist or an agnostic. But the one thing they do believe in is family. And teaching the children, taking time. You'd love it, some of the families I'm thinking of, where they sit and they talk with their kids and they won't let a question go by just willy-nilly, like maybe I did when my kids were growing up. They'll sit and they'll tell them, why is that color blue? Well, the color's blue because you take yellow and whatever the green or whatever, you put it together, and if they don't know the answer, they'll find it.
That's more of a parenting difference between our generation and our parents' generation and our kids' generation.
I just meant equality.
Equality in the relationship of co-parenting.
Co-parent, but never mind the woman goddess, never mind the man king. It seems to be just a co-partnership of human, and I kind of like that. Right. Okay. Well, that's not really where Jen Gunter is going. You'd have to take a look at some of her books, and I don't want you to think I was knocking her. The Vagina Bible is one. Yeah, I've read it a number of times. Yes. Yeah, you've got a copy on your shelf, I'm sure. Yeah, and the Menopause Manifesto. So it sounds very Marxist, but what it's trying to do is take a look at this, and that's why I like the title of her latest, Blood, the Science, the Medicine, and the Mythology. So there's definitely stuff that has gone too far in terms of New Age interpretation of women, the goddess figure. There's a whole bunch of feminist mystique going out there, and I'm thinking that she is now at the point where she's trying to bring it back to a reality that can be proven and tested and, of course, scientifically verified. Views that when you want to have your cycle, your menstrual cycle, should you be natural? Should you just, what are the products that you would use? Or do you use products now because you're a complete woman and this is completely natural? And so maybe you go back to the Israelites who had the women who were menstruating outside the camp. And maybe there's an outhouse for women in today's new subdivisions. I'm not sure. But you can see where this is going. How far do you take this? I take it nowhere. But it's just the way I am, I guess, because there's all kinds of, let's face it, this woman who seems very educated and very knowledgeable, obviously 5 books in 3 years, that's incredible. But she'll make some good money on those books, and she'll have a good following. I don't think she has to make money on the book. She's a doctor. I know, but speaking tours, everything you want to do without Dr. Gupte's a doctor. Yeah, I like him a lot. And on CNN, right? Is he making more money by the
by the public appearances than by the guest appearances.
And I'm not saying that that's wrong. I mean, if you can do it, you can do it. He's still a surgeon.
Yeah.
And so she's still a doctor.
Yes.
And she may speak to other doctors and all kinds of different things. I don't even know why I'm going down that road. It's just that I'm just sort of indifferent to it. Some people are going to like it. Some people are going to say it's nonsense. And both people may not know really anything about it, haven't read it or nothing, you know. We're just assuming everything's fine because these three guys are saying it's fine. I don't know. I'm assuming it is.
Well, let's take a listen to a little bit more, and we'll get another snippet of it, and maybe we'll get a little more clarity.
And, you know, understanding things like germ theory and, you know, so these basic scientific principles, we've evolved into something better. I would say that, you know, all of these purveyors of wellness and snake oil are really still, you know, stuck in that time. They use the same language, basically, you know, it's all about balance. I mean, they don't say black bile and yellow bile, but they may as well. I mean, it's really similar.
Yeah. You write that the disdain of menstrual blood isn't universal, but it's very common. And you also write specifically that it's misogyny. And I have a degree in religion. I studied all the world's religions. And I remember there being many rituals around the supposed impurity of menstruation. It usually involved making the woman leave into a hut, or some level of shame was involved. Do you think this misogyny is lessening over time as we evolve, or is it just finding new forms of expression?
I think that some overt displays of it are lessening. However, I would say that all of the wellness industrial complex is wrapped up in it. You know, anybody who's, you know, using language about pure, clean, and natural is still tying into mythology about bodies being dirty and unclean. And whose bodies are the most dirty and unclean? It's women's bodies. And who is wellness marketed to? It's marketed primarily to women.
All right. A lot of stuff in what she just said in that snippet, and I'm thinking that part of it is language. Some of this stuff, if you hear these words, they are words that come from a certain philosophy, a certain attitude towards women. Are women still viewed misogynistically as impure when they're on their periods?
I love women. But are we done?
Apparently. Go ahead. Wrap it up. Say it.
Apparently, all of these images that are given to women in their menstruated area is coming from women who are trying to promote products.
Apparently. Interesting.
Yeah. It's not men. Men are. I don't think of menstruation.
Jim and
I
Terry
just
shows.
don't want to think of it.
Signing up.